days, there used to be a song, I think it was by the Bengals, Manic Monday. Well, I have a good colleague and friend, Dave Rosenberg, and he has a program and a book called Locked on Leadership. And he likes to say, we like to work with our companies and have them replace thank God it's Friday with thank God it's Monday. So how about thank God it's Monday? So glad that you're here. There's a lot going on in the world today. And, I've been telling my clients, now more than ever. And so today's topic is now more than ever. I want to talk a little bit about conflict resolution strategies. And the reason why I want to discuss this, one, what's going on in the world. We can always talk about conflict somewhere in the world. And then two, I've been asked to put together a negotiations program for a company, and I thought, why not start with conflict resolution strategies? As you and I both know, none of you have these challenges, but once again, we're looking out for our friends, colleagues, and loved ones. So I want to talk a little bit about conflict resolution strategies, and there's 5 different kinds, and I would like to talk a little bit about each one. And the first is avoid. Think of a turtle. People that do not like conflict are like a turtle hidden inside of their shell. They don't want to engage, they want to avoid, they want to ignore it, they want to pretend it doesn't happen. They just kind of let it go. They'll sometimes go along to get along, if you've heard that term before. Sometimes people call that collude, but they avoid. They just don't like conflict at all. It just has no place for them. Just stay away. The next ones are accommodators. Now, accommodators, they care so much about the relationship that the conflict may not be that big of a deal. So think of like a teddy bear. And so accommodators care more about the relationship. So what might happen is an accommodator may be putting up with so much, and then one day you drop your pen and the accommodator picks it up, and you don't say thank you in such a loving, caring way, and that person says, I can't believe how grateful you are. I can't believe this. I can't believe that. You see, you were the straw that broke the camel's back. It has nothing to do with the pen. It's just that at some point, the accommodator can't take any more, and the accommodator blows up. Now, here's the problem. If you're an accommodator, we tend to use all 5, right? But we may use one more than the other. If you're an accommodator and you own a truck, especially when you were in college, you probably had your weekends filled every weekend because someone was always moving, and you're the accommodator, you own a truck, they know they can call you at any time of day going, yep, Sally will be there for me, yep, Fred will be there for me, because you're an accommodator. You care so much about the relationship. The challenge with an accommodator is sometimes their own needs are not met, but everyone else's are met first. So those are the first 2. Avoid and accommodate. And then you've got the competitor, someone that likes to compete, a competitive person. That's the shark. They like to engage. That's what they care about. They like to win. They like to win sometimes at all costs, and sometimes they hurt people's feelings, and they don't mean to because they just want to win. Remember the WIFM we covered last week? What's in it for me? That's what they're concerned about. What's in it for me? And a shark likes to win. Now, there's a good time to be a shark. If you're looking to get a raise and you think you deserve it, and you can handle that, that's a good time. If someone injures or puts my kids in harm's way or does something that's disparaging towards my children, I become a very strong shark. I've taken on teachers and coaches, and I could tell lots of stories, and they probably could tell lots of stories as well. We won't go there. But a shark has its place. And then we have the compromiser. I don't really have an animal for a compromiser. If you can think of a good animal for a compromiser, let me know. I would love that. Compromisers do not like conflict. They might say in a negotiation, they might say, well, I know you want a program or a contract that's $50,000, and we want to offer $20,000. Let's just meet in the middle. These are people that don't like conflict. They don't like to engage. They're like, you know what? Let's just be done with it. The problem with that is people say you're looking for a win-win or a win-win-win. That's a what. You see, you're giving and they're giving. There's a time to compromise. There is a time to compromise. However, there's also a time you can't compromise. There's a great book. If you want a great book on negotiation, it's called Never Split the Difference by Voss, V-O-S. Best book I have read on negotiation. Even if you like anything to do with learning something, you don't even have to be a negotiator to learn. He's a former FBI terrorist negotiator. And the thought is, you can't split the difference when we're talking about a human being. It's very entertaining. He uses a lot of stories of what happened in his life, and it's just highly, highly recommended. And another one is Getting to Yes, is another good book as well. But compromisers do not like conflict. They just like to be done. And there's a time and a place for that. There's a time and a place not to be that. And then you've got the collaborators. These are the people that we bring all the conversations to the table. All the conversations to the table. What are your thoughts? 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 We come up with something that might be in the best interest of everyone. It may not be it's not going to be a compromise, because they'll say, there's strength in numbers. They'll say the whole is greater than the sum of its parts. When you get a lot of people together, you get probably the best. Now, collaboration is good a lot of times. Collaboration is not good. If, God forbid, my house is burning and I see a bunch of firefighters gathering in a circle going, well, Fred, how do you suppose we should fight this fire? Oh, great insight. Mary, what do you think? Oh, thanks so much for sharing. My house is burning. I want someone that's competing. I want someone that rushes into my home, make sure I don't have anybody in my home, and make sure my home can be safe. Not a time to be a collaborator. So there's 5 types. Avoid, the turtle. Accommodate, the teddy bear. Compete, shark. Compromise, Darren doesn't have one. Collaborator is a fox. Sly is a fox. Let's get everybody together, see what we can come up with. Now, when do you use which style? And I was thinking this morning, and I just came up with it. It's an acronym. The acronym is TRIP. When you're involved in conflict, you don't want to trip and use the wrong one. So T stands for time. How much time do you have in this conflict? If it's something that needs to be done right away, you're probably going to pick a style that best suits it needs to be done right away. An avoider is not a time to be a turtle when time is of the essence, right? T stands for time. R stands for relationship. How important is the relationship to you? So if you have a significant other or you're married and you share the same tube of toothpaste, and some of you like to, very ninja-like squeeze from the very bottom like you're some sort of, martial artist, and others like me just squeeze wherever your hand fits, and sometimes that can lead to a huge challenge. Now, perhaps you just want to buy your own tube of toothpaste. That way you can jump on it, squeeze it, the other person can, carefully roll it up ever so slow and carefully, and there's no conflict. Right? Why do you think there's dual sinks in bathrooms? So people don't have to interact and fight over, oh, you did this with this sink and I need this sink now. That's a very good way to avoid the conflict. What is the relationship? If the relationship is not important, you're probably going to demonstrate one conflict style over the other. I actually had a colleague once, probably one of the nicest people I ever met, but we went to lunch and he was so rude to the waitstaff. And I said, well, don't you think you're being a little harsh? He's like, yeah, but I need to blow off some steam. So what he does is he's, very nice and, joyful and wonderful person. But when he gets around people he doesn't really care about, which is horrible not to care about the waitstaff, because they determine a lot in your food, if you know what I mean, right? He doesn't care. I really did not go to lunch with him anymore because I was afraid about the food. Okay? And plus, it's so inappropriate to treat people like that. I'll tell you, as a family, when I'm out with my kids and we get really good service, we take the time to speak to a manager to talk about what great service we have. Because a lot of times people only complain. And I'd rather see someone's compliment bucket be a lot more full than their complaint bucket. Because by and large, we get really good service every time, but we don't let people know, right? So R is relationship. I is issue in TRIP. I is issue. What's the issue here? Once again, if it's the toothpaste, who really cares? If it's the safety of a child, who really cares? I really care. That's when I become the shark. I really care if it's an important issue. If it's not a big issue, it doesn't really matter. It doesn't really matter, right? So what is the issue? You're going to decide that. Is this issue important? If so, this is the style I'm going to take right now. And then the P stands for power. What is the power that someone has over me? If you have a boss, you probably don't want to kick down the door and go, hey baby, it's time we talk about my raise, or hey bud, let's have a conversation. Probably not a good idea. Probably not a good idea. If I get pulled over by the police for speeding, probably not a good idea to have a conversation to find out how long that person's been an officer. Doesn't make sense to me. P is the power. What's the power the person has over you, or what's the power that you have will determine what style you used. So the acronym is TRIP. If you're going to be able to effectively handle conflict, you want to use the acronym TRIP. Time, relationship, issue, and power. What I'd like you to do is in the chat, I would like you to think about which conflict style you typically use and feel comfortable sharing that. That would be wonderful. If you think this is a helpful video, please share it with all your friends and family. Imagine how many conflicts we could solve if we were able to use the right style at the right time, looking at our relationship, looking at the issue, and looking at the power. We would have a different world. We would have different conversations that wouldn't lead to hurt feelings, and we would get our own needs met. So until tomorrow at 9 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, noon Eastern Standard Time, I look forward to seeing you then. Please share, please like, please comment. Let's get this out to all the people that you know that want to learn more about conflict. And I look forward to seeing you tomorrow. And starting tomorrow, I'll let you know about the 5-day challenge that I'll be having coming up really soon. Thank you so much. I wish you good selling. I wish you good networking. I wish you good living. That you're able to handle conflict in an effective and a meaningful way. Because I think the Chinese write 2 characters for crisis, which to me is conflict. They draw danger and opportunity. The question is, are we going to look at this as danger, as an opportunity for growth? Thank you so much. Have yourselves a great day.